This week on Two Nerds a Podcast.
The podcast we've all been waiting for.
Not me, really.
Why can't we see Ethan's face? They do that purposely, like they show his body. Like I don't understand what's such a big deal about him being faceless.
It's just a meme at this point. It's just like the guy, the neighbor next door in Home Improvement.
I kind of
How did he reproduce?
How did he fucking have a kid?
These are the questions that I actually will ask.
These are good questions.
That boss fight, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, was like the weakest shit ever.
The thing is, I liked that because it wasn't a traditional boss fight. Like I just kind of liked running and finding her. I thought it broke up.
Yeah, because it wasn't a boss fight. We get it. You fucking love it. It's the greatest boss fight in Resident Evil history. Like, we understand.
The face
like,
splits.
Nemesis would explode at this boss fight. Like
you can see the Kadu because her face splits.
In the annals of fucking great boss fights in video game history, fucking Ben Viento's going down like in the top 5.
Clearly, I just said
easily.
Top. Honestly,
fuck Ganondorf in Hyrule Castle with the volleyball and shit.
Top 2 boss fights of all time, for real, dog. She's actually not a bad.
Okay, so you murdered her. So you murdered her in cold blood in a hallucinogenic rage.
Yeah, basically.
But obviously, I'm a big like Universal monster guy. Demitrescu, I believe, this is the first vampire in Resident Evil ever.
She's not even really a vampire,
She's
though.
Not technically a vampire,
right?
But still, yeah.
The first thing when you see the 3 daughters, okay, I was like in my mind, I was like, okay, Dracula had 3 wives. So I just really liked the mythology that they created.
That was
with
probably
it.
purpose, like.
Oh, I guarantee it was.
Yeah. Who's your favorite lord?
It was Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu.
Are you gonna say something controversial?
He's gonna be like,
he's gonna
Heisenberg,
be
Heisenberg, my bro.
Okay, Heisenberg, though, for real.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you a special presentation of
Two Nerds a Podcast, your home for everything movies, music, video games, and everything in between. With your hosts, Bunny the Bruiser, and Dynamite Jarrod Latching.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Two Nerds a Podcast. We are Two Nerds. This is a podcast. I am Buddy the Bruiser with
3 fucking nerds a podcast.
Nice try.
Hey, why do I keep coming back? You're wasting my fucking time if it's not
But the working title right now is Two Nerds a Podcast featuring Midnight Miles.
I'm like a fucking collab track, bro. You guys need me here. We gotta bump the ratings, bro.
I'm Dynamite Jarrod. All right.
Are we cutting the bull? Are we just
cut the bullshit? Let Miles talk.
Miles, Resident Evil 8.
The podcast we've all been waiting for.
Not me, really.
Jarrod. Anyways, Village. Let's do it, buddy. Lead us in.
All right, Resident Evil Village. Of course, it is the direct continuation of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I guess right off the bat, this one's like a billion times fucking better than 7, I thought. At least, I don't know, like, because replaying 7 right before this, I felt it was like, I don't know, like a chore to get through, and it just like, this one's more fun, I guess.
I really like 7, and I did replay.
You're never gonna get him to say anything bad about any of these games.
No, that's not true.
I'll say you're going a little harsh on 7. It's not a billion times better.
I really like 7.
It's like 100 times better.
It's a lot better. It's fair to say
honestly,
it's a lot better.
I won't say it's a lot better. Even I'm going hard. I'll say it is definitively better than Resident Evil 7.
I like Village better than I like 7.
All right,
but it's not.
So we're all in agreement here.
I feel like it's just the overall gameplay and how more open. I don't say it's open world, but it's bigger. It basically expands on everything 7 started. 7, if I want to play a more horror game because it's much more horror influence, I would pick that. If I'm going to play a little more action horror, I'm going to pick Village. But like I don't know, they're very different. They're, obviously first person, same characters.
This is the way I look
different
at it, because I don't think that Resident Evil 7 was really that closed. I think it felt more like claustrophobic than 8 does, because you got the whole ass village and it's like daytime out and and like in Resident Evil 7 you have like the whole like Baker like estate that you're running through, which is pretty fucking big.
It's actually pretty big,
you know, like, and there's the area where there's the camper outside where you can go to like the different areas. I actually
love, like, to be honest, I love that like central area and you're going off and you got to go.
I just hate when you're like, you're so used to going there, you've killed the molded out there, and then like one time you'll clear a part of the story, and there's like 17 more fucking molded there. And they're like
the spider mold, like the really like strong ones. On 4s, that shit's crazy.
But like, to me, Village just felt more like a Resident Evil game to me. Like 7 felt like a Resident Evil game, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like this, like with Village, like you have the merchant, the inventory space and all this shit, which never really comes into like, I never had a trouble with my storage in the game.
No.
But like, it feels like you could. You know what I mean? Like,
when I played on my second playthrough, I like added the like unlimited guns and stuff.
Right,
and I felt like it was close. Like there were a couple times I was like almost full, but I didn't end up having that problem.
But I guess like to speak on like the horror element of it, I mean, had you asked me like when I'm in the castle, right, like towards the beginning of the game, which I think shouldn't have been at the beginning of the game, but
true.
During that part, I was like, 7 is like so much scarier than this shit. But then you get to the second Lord, and I was like, this is scarier than anything that happened in the entire time of 7.
So,
but that part's only like 10
it's not
long.
very long. Yeah, I know.
When I just replayed that, I was trying to rush through it a little bit. When you go to get the elevator and the baby is coming through.
There's going to be spoilers on all of this.
Spoiler, yeah. Right. So I was cutting it close. The baby's coming around, and I'm like hitting the elevator button. Both doors are opening because it takes a minute. I spun to the left. The buttons were on the right. I went to press them, and it went to a cutscene, and the baby ate me. And I loved it.
I've never been eaten by the baby.
Oh, I had.
Maisie's having like a fucking panic attack over there thinking about it.
That baby.
Well, no, the baby goes like this. Like, I was excited because, like, to be honest, in all the Resident Evil series, most of the deaths are like hilarious if you actually die. Like, not and get like killed or shot, any of the other ones, but like the early games, if you're Resident Evil 2 especially, they cut and they show like a licker cutting you in half or someone doing something that's like, you're dead, you know, like the whole, it's great.
You are dead.
Yeah, you are dead. You got it. But
it's just weird to hear you say you're dead, because in text you never fucking use conjunctions at all.
Yeah, it's always very proper English. Yeah.
And so like, you are dead. Like, this sounds right up your alley.
So when the baby eats you, because I got eaten by the baby, it slows down and it shows the baby grabbing you by your feet, and the baby pushes you slowly into the mouth, and it's screaming "ah" the whole time. So I'm crying, laughing, and then the baby pushes you first person's head in, and then it starts eating you, and then it cuts off. So it's like a weird, slow. It's fun. Like, it was very fun. The next time I did the same thing, and the baby was about to get in, and I pressed the button, and the game actually like not froze, but did something weird and went right to the proper cutscene. So it was interesting and kind of play with the limitations of the game a little bit.
Right. So we were jumping around a little bit, so I guess, like, for those of you that are interested in the story or whatever, so it's a direct continuation of 7. It's a couple, I think it's like 2 years later.
3 to 4 years later.
3 to 4 years later.
They actually try to do, like, not real time, but it's been 4 years since Resident Evil 7. They try to keep it almost, like, actual time, yeah.
Right, so basically...
Until the end.
You and me are there, you have a baby or whatever, and then... shit hits the fan right off the fucking beginning. Chris breaks in your fucking house and shoots down your wife right in front of your fucking eyes, and then you get abducted, basically, and then you're...
Can we just talk about how fucking stupid that is? By the way, that, like...
It's not a great opening, to be honest.
It's a cool opening.
It's cool.
Like, it got your attention, but by the end of the game, when you figure out what's going on, it's literally like...
Like, how did they leave her there?
No, it's not even that. the stupidest fucking thing ever is that Chris didn't take 2 fucking seconds to be like, that's not your wife.
Right.
He literally just was like, I'm gonna be a complete fucking dickhead to you this entire time. I'm gonna pistol whip you like
and his whole team
is like, you should have told Ethan the plan.
Why didn't you tell Ethan? Like, what's because Ethan's been trained by the military and him.
I didn't have time. Like, shut the fuck up.
You could have been like,
you shot your wife. You literally could have just been like,
looked him in the eyes. And
literally like, Ethan, you need to come with me. That's not your wife. Like, he literally just be like, something's going on. I will explain it to you in the fucking van. Instead of, we need to knock you the fuck out and like abduct you and your fucking baby.
Yeah.
Like,
the biggest thing with this game, and we're jumping around a little bit, is I feel like a lot of the plot points, especially later in the game, it almost felt like they did the whole game, and then they're like, well, how do we close this fucking thing up or make the story wrap up? I feel like a lot of things were very convenient, and it's like, it was almost like they made the game, they're like, oh, we're going to try to make Chris look like the bad guy in the beginning, but we have no idea how to actually, like, reveal the story. Like, there's, like, I don't know, because, like, the whole Mia thing, that's all, it could have been 2 seconds. I feel like even Capcom has got to the end of the game, because this whole team's like, well, Chris, you should have just told him the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kept saying that. It's like, did they realize how dumb it was to not reveal that when they did the trailers?
It makes no sense. It's just a weird plot device to... And you didn't even need to fucking do it, because, like, alright, just fucking run the same fucking scenario. Their fucking car gets attacked, and you fucking wake up in the village by yourself, and, like... Yeah. Okay, Ethan's by himself. He's got to go through all this shit.
He's got to find.
And Chris can still be like, when you run into him, he can literally still do the same thing. Like, Ethan, fuck off. Like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like, he literally still act the same way. And, like, yeah, it was all just so they could get the plot twist later. Oh, Chris isn't actually a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay, brother, I knew Chris wasn't a fucking bad guy. When he came in and shot fucking Mia, like, I was like, okay, something's up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're not going to make Chris Redfield a fucking bad guy halfway through the series. They tried to do the same thing with Jill in Resident Evil 5. Have her come out and be like, oh, she's working with Wesker now, like she's a bad guy. No, she was under mind control.
The thing was, even
they could have literally
chest,
done that. Like, my squad was under fucking Miranda's mind control or something like that.
The thing was, like, even with her chest, and it was obvious that she was being controlled, it was done better than Chris just doing that shit at the beginning of fucking 8.
But, you know, I mean, whatever.
Gripes aside, starts off, I'm a huge werewolf fan. Even though, to be honest, I don't want to nitpick too much because I really did love this game. We're nitpicking.
I'm glad you're nitpicking because you fucking love everything and you won't say anything bad about it.
I actually do.
I'm just annoyed by the constant fucking like asterisks. I am nitpicking, but I love this game.
Well,
I love this fucking game.
Can we be fair? It's a very fun and good game, right? Am I wrong?
No, it's good. It's good.
It's a good
I don't
game.
think it's in my top 5 Resident Evil, but I think.
Oh, it's not. I just said it's not mine either. But
I've only played 3 of them, so it's in my top 3. So
there we go, buddy throwing out there, admitting the truth.
What is it? Fucking 4, 7, and 8.
4, 7, and 8. That's all.
But you haven't even beat 4.
I haven't beat 4. No,
you haven't even gotten to fucking Salazar yet.
No, but I re-downloaded it.
Way to call him out on the podcast.
But I'm gonna be playing that.
Wait till you get to the giant fucking puppet Salazar that fucking chases you through the
after Ghost of Tsushima.
The tap acts like super fast. It's just Leon sprinting at the screen.
I'm pretty sure I've broken my hands during some like fucking cut things, and when he's running away from boulders, and it's like,
oh my god,
like it's just fucking horrible. But Village. Oh, they don't really explain why they turned into.
Who's the leader of the village? In 4, I can never remember his name. And me and Lord Sadler.
Sadler, yeah.
I can't believe
Sadler,
me just looking in your eyes made me remember fucking his name.
Fuck, 4 is great. 4 remakes coming out. We'll do another podcast on that. It's probably coming out next.
I would imagine.
That is the next Resident Evil game. It's supposed to be
I thought you said Revelations was coming out first. Either way, it'll be out soon.
I'm really not that psyched about the Resident Evil 4 remake.
It's pretty unnecessary. I mean, obviously.
Like, it's literally just going to be Resident Evil 4, except you can run and shoot at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
which is
literally going to be it.
Unless they up the difficulty a lot. It's
And the
probably
graphics are going to be insane, as if the fucking graphics in Resident Evil 4 still don't hold up today.
The way they did the Resident Evil 4 graphics, how they're kind of like, they're really good, but there's almost like a haze on them. But it almost like when you watch something on VHS, even some of the great, like, better quality stuff, it still looks fine or good to me. Like, I enjoy the way it looks. The way they did Resident Evil 4 at the time, I feel like they tried to, like, hide some of, like, the flaws or some of the things with the graphics.
No, they didn't try to hide anything. Like, Resident Evil 4 at the time was graphically the greatest game ever made.
But, okay.
No, there was nothing even fucking close at the time.
I'm not...
That game came out, and I was literally like, this is real. Like, this is...
Yeah.
Like,
no other game, when I say looks before or after, like, Resident Evil 4. Like, the way they did the graphics and like, I've never seen a game, to me, that looked like the way they did...
There was literally, like, a fucking, like, a shine on his gun strap, dude. I was like...
Well, I mean, even just
what
the
the
way...
fuck?
It's almost, for me, like, found footage films. We're going off a little off topic, but...
I think you're just looking at the way that the shit's aged, and maybe they've done the HD remasters and shit on it.
No, I mean,
like,
it looks... No, I love the way Resident Evil...
When that shit dropped, they weren't trying to hide anything. They were like, literally, this is the greatest graphics you're going to be able to get at the time. Boom.
It's more like, even if something comes out with great graphics next to it, it doesn't... The way that they designed Resident Evil 4, to me, is like...
Do you know what the fuck he's talking about right now?
I'm trying to finish. Like someone watching the Blair Witch Project and then putting it next to Paranormal Activity or another found footage. It's too iconic. Like the way
it wasn't in HD when it came out. We know that.
No, I know, but it looks It
was definitely in standard definition when the game came out on GameCube and PlayStation.
But even the games who try to mimic Resident Evil 4 don't look as iconic as Resident Evil 4. Like, its game just looks different to me.
I don't know if it looked iconic. It just looked really good at the time.
I don't know.
It was just like really hyper-realistic.
We'll see. Maybe
it was hyper-realistic graphics for the
maybe
time.
some of the listeners can understand what I'm saying, but...
I don't know what this haze you're talking about is.
He's just too drunk as fuck.
No, let's continue. No,
that's when he's 6 beers in playing Resident Evil 4. He's like, damn, there's like a haze over these graphics.
No, but the way...
Looks like they're trying to hide some imperfections.
No, I don't mean that in an imperfection way. It just looks... I love the way it looks. I like the art direction. I like the character models. I like the style.
It's just
Everything
realism.
about that game is great.
It's just realism. That's how all Resident Evil games have been done graphically. Even going back to, like... Okay, maybe not the first two.
Even though 2 looks great.
It looks good, but like when you see the cutscenes, it looks cartoony.
Well, yeah.
Like, so I'd say from like 4 on, like they're done in like as realistic of graphics as they can do.
For the generation.
It's just in realism. Sure. Like, I don't think there's anything like particularly stylistic about any of them.
I don't know, something about 4, man. It hits different. It's different. You like that shit. You guys like that fucking Twitter shit. Go ahead, buddy. Listen.
Oh, you were talking about werewolves and then you got all sidetracked.
I don't understand. So there are...
Drink some water. Jesus
notes.
Christ.
I know. I'm dying. I'm having a... We're talking about my favorite series. I'm like...
Dasani. What the fuck is that? Jesus Christ.
Beulah Corner Store, Cat.
He sounded worse after he drank the water.
Because he's drinking Dasani.
Anyways.
Just drank acid, bro.
No, for real, though. So, they talk about what the Kaldu, whatever, like the parasite.
Yeah, it's like a Kadu.
They never explain, like, why they randomly, like, when they got infected or were purposely infected, why they turned into lichens. And I think it's very interesting. They just decided to be like, we're in Europe. I didn't feel it was almost like something in their minds or the cultural mindset. Like,
it's in the data. If you didn't have an affinity towards the mold and the Kadu, then you turned into a lichen.
Yeah, but there's no reason why they didn't turn into like a zombie or a possessed person. Like,
well, why would a T-virus turn someone into a zombie in the first place? Why did the molded turn someone into I guess a big pile of fucking mold.
I was gonna say. But like with a zombie, it's more like an undead human, where like the lichen, like you see them, they are like transformed. The nose is different.
I just wouldn't think about that too.
I wondered about that.
No, because they're like
It's literally just a bioweapon. This bioweapon does this. This bioweapon does this.
Anyways, I thought it was interesting, and I didn't know if it was because like old Eastern European villages, mythology, and like I didn't know if it was in their characters' minds. I thought it was like they grew up on witchcraft and stuff like that. I'm like, so do these infected people portray what they think maybe in like their minds, like like fairy tales, folk tales, lore and legend that they grew up with? Like, why would they not turn into like a more just possessed, like in Resident Evil 4? It's my favorite series. I'm gonna kind of go off.
You're just thinking way too deeply about it. It's like virus go burr. That's what happens. Like,
it's a good discussion piece. I'm just very curious.
Why do they turn into lichens? Because they got shot up with fucking lichen bullshit. Like, why do werewolves turn into werewolves? Because they got bit by a werewolf.
Yeah, but
why does that happen? Why don't they just get rabies and die?
But the basic things, if they're infected with basic mold, I just don't assume they
with the Kadu. The Kadu is the fucking
Kadu was not everything was infected with a Kadu. That was the whole point. They talk about later in the game that Moreau was the one that actually did Kadu. Like Mother Miranda infected other people with mold, and they turned into lichens. They didn't know what they were doing, and that's why like the Kadu are mostly in the Lords.
It's literally just
because isn't the Kadu like the
mostly
mold in a fetus?
Yes, in the Lords. The Lords have
okay, but it's said in the documents at the end of the game, all the fucking things. It was like, all right, fucking this cat couldn't fucking handle Kadu. He's a lichen. Mother Miranda, or fucking Dimitrescu. Oh, what? She has a really high affinity for this. She did not turn into a lichen. Okay, I fucking understand that.
But like, not all of them. Not like a lot of them.
But I'm sorry that fucking Resident Evil's not gonna fucking like have like the 2-hour cutscene of the fucking biologist explaining exactly why this fucking shit happens.
That's why
and they never fucking did. They never did that.
But I just was curious.
Resident Evil 1, they were fucking around with a virus. It turned everyone into a zombie. Okay, I get it. You never complained about it then. You were never like, why does it turn them into a zombie?
We're deep. Well.
No, you back then were like, T-virus go burr. Like,
but still, with a human, if they look like a dead human is a zombie, that makes sense to me. That they're the undead, dead version of themselves. The lichens look phenomenal.
Why did the people in Resident Evil 6 have sparks shoot out of their head when you killed them?
Not everyone did.
Not in Leon's campaign because he was fighting zombies. But in Chris and what's his name? Jay. It's not shit that I'm like, okay, video game. Like they have a virus that makes them have sparks go out of their head.
Bro,
I never question why the fucking COVID-19 virus makes my fucking nose get stuffed up.
Well, some people
I'm just like, damn, virus makes me sick.
You're just not a scientist.
Well, the scientist's job is to fucking figure that shit out, but like the average citizen isn't thinking about this shit.
If this was Final Fantasy,
I don't think anyone fucking cares why they're
Fantasy,
fucking.
Bro, and it was a blitzball shit, you'd be going off on.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. In Final Fantasy, it's blitzball. You're in like a water sphere, and you basically fucking play soccer. Okay, cool. Why do they do it in a water sphere? That never fucking crossed my mind ever. I was like, oh, they play a game in a water sphere. That's the rules of the game. Okay, this is the shit they've established in the lore. Okay, this is just
all right.
It's in the documents. Okay, I don't even think Mother Miranda fucking knows why it happened. She's just like, I've done these experiments. This is what happens.
Mother Miranda. We'll transition. Mother Miranda's character should have been way more fleshed out, and she was basically like, they got to the end of the game. They're like, oh, we need a final boss. Okay.
It wasn't like that. She's alluded to the entire game.
But
they really talk about her the entire game.
They talk about her constantly. There's photos of her everywhere.
But
they don't give her time. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, she's
supposed to be the main baddie, and like, there's not like. To me, they don't.
Tell me Lord Sadler's entire backstory real quick.
Sadler, or like, okay, outside of Salazar, who's the main? Okay, wait.
Who's the main bad guy? It's Sadler.
But not the village chief in 4.
No, Sadler.
Isn't he the religious leader?
He's the fucking guy with the hood that turns into a big monster at the end. You shoot him with a rocket launcher, and he dies. Because he's like the main leader of what's going on there. Lord Sadler, what's his backstory?
I know that he uses Salazar because Salazar is actually the lord over the whole area.
Oh, just like Mother Miranda used all the fucking lords in the village.
She created the lords.
And used them.
Yes. But even my bro Heisenberg knew that, hated that.
Right.
But they all already existed before she...
Don't act like Heisenberg was fleshed out. He literally showed up and was like, I move metal shit. Oh, by the way, Maisie fucking pointed out that he could do that before he even got infected. And like...
He was infected from the minute you saw him in the game.
I know, but she's saying there's intel in the game that said that like one of the reasons why he was a prime candidate is because he could move metal before.
Yeah, that's why he was chosen. Yeah.
Then I'm like, well, why though? Why can he move metal? And then Jarrod was like, you don't need to know, just like what he just did to Miles. But I don't know. Why Heisenberg?
Because Heisenberg go burn.
We like the deep shit. I'm trying to know.
You're never gonna know. You're just gonna sit there and think about shit and come up with creepypastas for yourself that are never going to fucking come to fruition. Like Capcom's never going to come forward and be like, "This is why this is."
I will say.
And if they do, it's going to be like 3 different people that worked on the game saying completely different fucking things.
I will say,
because the Japanese do not fucking care about this shit. Why did Super Saiyan 4 grow its tail back?
I'm not going to compare Dragon Ball.
Toei is not going to fucking tell you. They have no fucking idea.
I have other things to say, but let's get back on track in Resident Evil 8. Talk to me about the game, buddy. You talk to me about the game, because it's like the only second, third Resident Evil you ever played. What did you think overall compared to 7? Because you're comparing the 7 and 8 a lot. It's like you're like main 2.
I mean, nothing else that we haven't already said about it. The game was. We said it's a lot bigger. It's a lot more grand. It's just more fun.
I think it feels bigger, but I don't think it's actually that much bigger.
I felt it was just like more fun to play.
It is more fun. It's more fun to play. 7,
like, because when I was replaying 7, like, before this, it was kind of like a slog to, like, get through some of it, and I didn't even, like, finish it. And this one, I was, like, never bored at all. I always was having fun the entire time. Like, in 7, I was just, like, I don't, like, some of the puzzles were, like, not creative. I guess it's, like, literally, I was like, all right, I'm trying to match an eagle on the wall's shadow.
That's
right.
Like, it's just, like, a lot of the shit in that game was just, like, weak.
That's just Resident Evil.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Like, that's the part, when I said the Resident Evil 7 felt like Resident Evil, that's the shit that I was talking about. Not the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre hillbillies that were chasing me. Like, that part just felt like fucking, that felt like Outlast to me.
That was like an homage.
But like when I was doing like fucking eagle puzzles and shit, I was like, oh yeah, this is Resident Evil.
And then you gotta run through the wall before someone fucking molded comes up on you as soon as you like solve it.
I'll just tell you right now that if you're gonna play Resident Evil games, like get used to it because the puzzles are like never creative.
No, but
like,
I mean, that's
the only
fine,
creative puzzle
like,
they ever did, and it doesn't seem creative by today's standards, is replacing broken shotgun with real shotgun so the door opens.
That's
and that was also
that's iconic though.
It's iconic. I will say the hardest puzzle in the whole series, Resident Evil, Ashley's puzzle in that dark room. You know what I'm talking about, with the different sliding pieces, and they all almost look the same.
I don't remember.
See, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, there's no like strategy to it. It's like you have the piece and you're just literally trying to like line it up. Like you're not using your brain trying to figure out, okay, I need to fucking unscrew this animal skull to replace the mask so I can get out of the fucking room. Like it's not like you're thinking about anything. You're just like, all right, I'm gonna fuck around with this shadow until it matches.
A lot of Resident Evil is backtracking. Like you have like a 3-part puzzle or 3 like you need 3 parts.
Yeah, you have to go to like the other side of the fucking castle to fucking.
You gotta fight your way through. You gotta fight your way through this. You gotta fight your way. You put all the pieces together. You're in the next area.
I thought that Village was kind of lacking in the puzzle department. There were puzzles, but I didn't feel challenged by any of them.
You didn't feel challenged by those fire things. You were pissed.
What fire things? That's just because that was designed like dog shit. That was designed so bad. Like
I just shot.
Where you have to push the fucking
I just shot
things
him,
into the torches. Yeah, you have to but you can also push them.
Yeah, you can also push them, but I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm just gonna pull out my fucking pistol.
Right,
and it takes 2 seconds.
Basically, I ended up doing that. But on the internet, it was like, oh, you can push them, but the pushing design is it's so bad.
I will say, even with enemies. So yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about. The pushing element for even and you guard and push off.
It wasn't until my second playthrough, midway through, that I got the trophy for the guard and push.
Oh, I got it immediately,
I couldn't figure out how to fucking do it.
I think I got it by accident.
It's just insanely underutilized. That could be a cool element because it's supposed to be you push the person's dazed and then you basically you can headshot them. It's supposed to be a whole fun gameplay element and they never really expand on it. Because they're dazed. If you block and push, the Lycans are dazed, you have an open shot at their heads, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Well, Capcom, why didn't you tell me about this? Like I said, I probably did it on accident at some point.
The biggest problem with some of these games, especially this one, you have so many weapons at some point in the game or so much ammo that it's just gun, go. That's great, but it loses a little bit of the survival horror element as the game goes on.
Right. Okay.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a fine balance in this. You're never gonna. I don't think. Well, I guess in Resident Evil 2 Remake you did, but I don't think another main Resident Evil game's ever gonna make you scared of losing ammo anymore.
Right. Yeah. And this one, I was never nervous about the ammo, at all. Okay. So the first main section you get to in the game, after you're exploring the village or whatever, you're in Demetress's castle, and I don't for me. I don't know if you guys felt this way, but just for the marketing of the game, I thought that would have been towards the end instead of the first thing, and I get the all right, so we did this thing, it was all hyped up in the trailer or whatever, and then it's done and everything else is new after that. But I don't know, I thought that should have been because they made it seem like a bigger deal than it actually was.
Well, because they released the demo, and when the demo came out, Dimitrescu got so fucking popular, and they were, and the developer, I literally read an interview with the developers, where
they didn't expect her.
Yeah, they didn't expect her. We think it's great that she's so popular, but she's not the main part of the game.
The problem is, even with the trailers outside the demo, she was the main baddie in all the trailers.
The marketing, yeah.
It showed Heisenberg and everybody.
At the end of a trailer, but
yeah, it made him seem like the fucking baddest dude of all time.
Yeah, but it made it seem more like...
They made him seem like such a big deal that I literally looked up to see who he was. I wasn't... I wasn't recognizing.
They made it seem like it was a reveal. When
right, and I was like, what the... I was like, who the fuck is that? Then,
Demetress, though, and her daughters, they made them seem like you're going to fight the daughters and Demetress for, a while, which I understand what Buddy's saying, because they were, 2 different trailers. They were in it. Moreau was never in a trailer. Benevito, or whatever, the doll, was never in a trailer. Heisenberg was never seen moving outside of it, flipped his hat up, and he's smoking or whatever, and he laughs at you. And in the final trailer, they show him with the Duke. Demetress are all Ethan Winters. They made it seem, too, in the final trailer, that Ethan was going to be, something special. Something was going to happen that was going to reveal, is Ethan a different character? People thought maybe he'd be a clone of Wesker, or he'd be, part of the family. But he's literally just, spoiler, a guy who died in Resident Evil 7. And he's molded, obviously. He's mold.
But I guess I kind of
How did he reproduce?
How did he fucking have a kid?
These are the questions that I actually will ask.
These are good questions.
Yeah.
Is normal Mia, is she not infected at all?
She never died. She never died. There's an intel early in the game of Chris that you find outside of the van that is 2 years after that, where they're Mia's finally fully cured. They basically rehabbed her and completely cured her of mold.
That's what I thought. That's what happened. I think I maybe remember that, but I'm okay. So
I don't know how she didn't get infected again. Literally, fucking
taking that mold
Ethan.
dick,
Yeah,
taking that
like,
molded dick, dude.
like that should be a fucking mold STD right there. Like,
do you think Ethan can make his?
do you
dick
think his
bigger?
do you think his cum was just like black mold?
I fucking know. Do you think? You think?
I think that if he understood that he was molded, he could definitely make his dick bigger on command.
Right. I feel like
Yeah,
that's true.
definitely.
All right. Cool. We're on the same page. Thank
If he
God.
would have known what he
Me and
was,
Jarrod, once in our lives, do you think Ethan can morph his dick to a bigger dick?
Well-
150%.
well, look at all the other molded that you fight throughout the game, like
they-
the ones
the
with
arms,
like
their
with
arms
like
get
the
bigger
with
and
like
shit,
the
like-
affinity, like a high affinity for the mold, which obviously Ethan has, right? They are able to just like reshape their bodies
Yeah, that's
into
what I mean,
like
yeah.
just giant fucking monsters and shit. Like, yeah, Ethan could definitely reshape his dick into whatever size he
That
wanted.
monster cock,
Yeah.
bro. The only thing with Ethan, I feel like
Basically, we're saying he absolutely pulverized Mia when they conceived Rose.
and hopefully every time before. But they try to play off Ethan in both these games. Like you see him go through the most, especially on replaying Village. Ethan
His
gets
co-
absolutely massacred like 90 times, and he knows it. And then Mia in the cutscene later in the game, spoilers, she's like, "Ethan's special." Like,
Oh, she knows exactly what's up with him because
Well, I know.
when he jizzed, the black mold came out of his dick. So I mean, like,
she's reinfected.
Like-
but they try to make
which
it
she
seem,
accidentally pulled his fucking head off while they were having sex and had to stick
They
it
make
back
it
on.
seem like it was going to be a big reveal that Ian's special. I'm like, bro, his hands have been destroyed. His left hand was destroyed 75 times in between 7 and 8. Lost
it's-
fingers, cut off,
it's-
stitched back on. Like, his
It's
other hand
lit-
got put back on.
in,
like,
in 8, yeah, in 8, like literally Dimitrescu just slices it clean off. You just grab it and stick it back
Yeah.
on, and no stitches or anything. He just puts it back on.
he
and it's
does,
just like,
he does pour, I think.
He pours the chem fluid
He
on
pours
it,
like
yeah.
he pours chem fluid on him so many times, like it's like basically like a god's nectar. Like it does everything. Like
no, the one that I know, like literally, because like right at the beginning of the game when Dimitrescu like puts you on the fucking like meat hooks or
Yeah, when
whatever,
you're chained up,
and
yeah.
you literally like rip your fucking hand in half, and then like literally 2 seconds later your hand is fine. So why didn't he grow his fucking fingers back?
Yeah, on the one hand he still has.
yeah, I know. I
three
don't
fingers.
understand. And the other thing too, want to notice is the daughters when they come through, they hook through, and you see it through both of his fucking legs, like just would have been through bone, through everything, and drag him through all those rooms. If you remember right, I'm like.
Oh yeah.
Like you would black out, like his body, like he had massive holes in his legs, and he was just like, I'm fine, guy." Like, no, dude, like clearly he's infected. He's a bioweapon or he's molded. You know, like,
How did he never?
Well, molded is a bioweapon.
well,
Like he was never like. This is kind of weird.
They just kept it from him. Like I feel like
even though he's like attaching his hands and shit, like.
I think he seriously is just so stupid that he got used to it and never really thought about it.
Oh, poor King.
Or it's just like to him, like it might be like too traumatic. Like there's so
might
much
know.
trauma involved with it that like it's just like blanked out of his fucking head.
He might know and
What?
doesn't want to admit, because they never like. Obviously, Mia like never talks about. Well, no, okay, all right, we're jumping way ahead. The end of the game, he fights Mother Miranda, defeats her. He knows he's gonna die because Mother Miranda rips his heart out. Which is supposed to be another big reveal.
Couldn't
his-
he have just popped it back into his chest?
His heart looks like a human heart, even though he's molded.
I mean, it's still like. It's still fucking like. I mean, is it not still like his human corpse?
It is.
Just like infected with mold? Like,
Yeah, but I don't really. The rules are loose. I feel like for every character, so I don't really, looks like a heart. She rips it out. He knows he's dying. He looks at Chris, so he knows he's like, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I'm about to die, bro. Like, take my wife, take the kid. I really wish they would have had a better reveal on the Senate for Rose coming back to life. Like, with all her, because they go like in such detail about her being separated.
Oh yeah.
The thing, like, the four lords get together and they do the ritual, and like her body separates each of them. Like, I kind of would have liked the ritual, her coming back together, to be a little more serious.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they don't really go into it or show anything.
I didn't think about it because I didn't give a shit about Rose. I was like, why is he going so hard for a baby?
It's his kid. You go hard for Austin.
Baby go wham. Well, Austin would have killed everyone in that village by
Not
himself.
if he was separated into little jars.
They wouldn't get to that point because he would just bite them all.
Anyway, what's up?
I will say, so...
How about for some reason, I just thought about the dog that if you save at the beginning of Resident Evil 4 helps you, like, throughout the game.
I thought that's one of the best plot points in that whole fucking game, dude. Seriously. I lost what I was going to say, but I'm going to get it back.
You thought about the Resident Evil 4 dog. You're damn,
like, oh, fuck,
you're damn, what a good boy.
What a good boy.
Right.
The best boy. Fuck, what was I going to say? I lost it. Jarrod took me on the Resident Evil 4.
Go back to talking about Lady Dimitrescu.
Nemesis would have fucking fisted her.
Oh. Gee.
That'd be an interesting fight.
disrespect
Dimitrescu versus
I don't think it'd be interesting. Seeing what Dimitrescu took and what fucking Nemesis takes. Just look at Nemesis's feats in Resident Evil 3 because they just beefed him up that entire game. Like, he tanks more than any other Resident Evil villain. Because literally the entire game is him tanking shit from you. Like,
wait till you get to final form Nemesis in 3 Remake.
Like, Mr. X tanks a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't tank like half as much as fucking Nemesis does.
That's true. But Nemesis, he is probably in the whole series the most main, besides Wesker, but I'm talking about like games called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. He's on the cover.
The only
like,
reason
Nemesis,
I think that Nemesis is definitely more durable than Wesker, but I think the reason why Wesker would win is because he's literally the Flash. Like, because he moves so fast, like he could literally dish out all the punishment to Nemesis and never be touched.
Yeah, he just like run around circles around Nemesis.
Yeah.
Nemesis isn't fast, he's just durable. Fuck, I had a good point about Village though.
That's
But
fine.
if someone would like to talk about Village...
What, that somebody could take Nemesis?
No.
Who could take Nemesis in Village?
No, that was not where I was going at all. Like, originally I had a point...
Do you think Jack could take Nemesis?
No.
He, too, also survived getting hit by a car.
He's a fucking durable motherfucker, Jack.
Well, yeah, I thought he was dead for half the game, and then he fucking shows back up again, and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm still alive, and I'm a giant monster now. In one of the harder fights of the game.
A hard fight. Did you guys think, real thing, so in the trailers, they showed the giant chalice, which is supposed to be represent all 4 of the houses for Village, which were the flasks, like in the thing.
Right.
They showed the Umbrella, quote-unquote, logo. They tried to tease. They're like, oh my, they really were teasing some shit home in this. Did you think the reveal, or what was where they briefly mentioned Umbrella, I thought it was a cop-out. Like, I was like, you didn't even have to mention Umbrella in this game, like, to try to tie it in. Like, we already know it's part of the canon, like, part of the games. Like, what did you think when the whole Umbrella reveal for the game?
I mean, I don't think they really needed to tie it in, but I didn't really care.
Was there a reveal?
They revealed that Spencer, Spencer
Spencer was there, yeah.
Went and met Mother Miranda. Basically, how I read it, he was traveling
I read the intel. Yeah,
she was
they were
traveling abroad
homies.
and researching. He met her when they were super young, like early 20s. She was researching molded and how to like infect things, and it gave him the inspiration to do legit bioweapons and do bioweapon research. But a few people point out online, Spencer in the later games gets cut out of Umbrella. He dies a bitter old man, and he talks about in this game, in like the note, that Miranda was a...
Does he die a bitter old man? I thought you just kill him in Resident Evil Revelations.
Spencer?
I'm pretty sure he's like the last boss of Revelations, the first one. He's all in like a fucking wheelchair and shit, and then he like transforms.
I thought you got rid of him in actually Zero, but I thought he actually, like, his original form died, and it was like I don't know. This Resident Evil lore, as we're talking about this, it's 25 years of Resident Evil this year. buddy, you're going to play through all of them. We're making you. It's part of it. We're doing it. It gets crazy. Like, it goes back and forth. I've played all of the games multiple times. I can't remember every little detail of Resident Evil. But someone brought it up. Okay, he dies alone, dies bitter, dies this. Mother Miranda had basically figured out immortality. Mother Miranda is probably like, what? They figured like over 100 years old.
Right, yeah.
Why didn't Spencer go back, become immortal, get infected, and try to destroy Umbrella and start over? It's kind of like a thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good plot point. I mean, they wanted to bring Umbrella into this game. I just thought it was reaching. Like it was like they didn't need to do it
again.
at all.
Like I don't think they needed to do it, but I didn't really care either way. Like I didn't really think about it.
It's hard for. You'll know. You see when you play all the other Resident Evil games,
right,
like you're like waiting for this reveal. I feel like this game, my biggest gripe, because I do think the game's great, but all the trailers, Dimitrescu, all these things, they almost sold the game for something it wasn't.
Okay, no, I'm wrong. Wesker killed Spencer.
Okay. I knew like someone, I thought killed Spencer at some point, like later, but I couldn't remember.
He stabs him to death.
Classic Wesker.
Anyways, buddy, talk about the game.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we need to go through every single area like in depth, but I know Jarrod was not a fan of the Silent Hill ripoff house.
I liked it. I said it was fine. I just said that it was like. I said that it was like just right. Like it lasted just long enough for me to be like, all right, this is cool, this is scary. Like if it would have went on longer than that with me with no guns, I would have been like, this sucks.
On the second playthrough, it was not scary at all because I was seriously in and out of that house in like 12 minutes. And that boss fight, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, was like the weakest shit ever.
The thing is, I liked that because it wasn't a traditional boss fight. Like, I just kind of liked running and finding her. I thought it broke up.
Yeah, because it wasn't a boss fight.
The thing is, like, okay, every other boss fight...
It was a quick time event, basically.
All the other boss fights in the game, running guns, similar things, I liked it. They just were like, let's change this up a little bit.
I wish that they'd utilize the creepy dolls more. Like, I thought they were gonna...
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything. It was just like...
There was concept art when you get all that shit at the end of them with weapons and shit. Like, I didn't see... Like, why weren't they coming at you?
There was one scene where when you first, like, walk out to the main room and you're gonna fight that doll fight, they all come out with, like, weapons for a second. Yeah, and they're, like, spikes and they attack you. Yeah.
But then after that, they were just like twitching.
Yeah, that
What's
was
the
it.
point of having a house full of dolls if all they're gonna do is twitch in the corner?
Okay.
Like, it would have been cooler if you're running around and the dolls
if you
are coming at
take too long, they kill you, right?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I just said that. I didn't know that the first time I played because I blasted through it.
I
second
just
time-
assumed it because they start twitching harder and harder, and like the music gets more intense.
I didn't notice
The
that.
second time I just played that fight, second time I ran in circles for a little while because I was actually curious. And all of a sudden they all show up and attack you, and they all, to be honest, they almost one-shoot you. Like, so you...
Oh, I just figured they would. They don't?
You're like on red, so like you got basically, because you know healing
So
shit.
you can get hit more than once by them?
You basically have to make sure
Fuck,
that...
that's easy. Jesus Christ.
But you have no heal. There's no... You don't have any
Okay,
other
but you're
shit.
not going to get hit twice. I fucking sniped
maybe,
that shit on
I
my
don't-
first time.
I did too. I didn't know they did that.
And so did you, right?
Because
Because nobody fucking knew about this.
Right, yeah, I
Well, that's
didn't
what I
know
mean,
about
when you
it,
just
yeah.
said
So,
that, yeah,
I mean, I knew about because I was just like, okay, this is what this is. Like, as they got more intense, I was like, all right, I'm on a time limit here because they're going to kill me. Like,
Noticed
Yeah.
that. But I do think that shit with finding the doll should have been...
Like, maybe after you found the doll, there was like a little fight or something, but like you find the doll 3 times and then it's just over.
It was so fast.
The thing is, her character, that like Lord, when you read the notes about her, she was actually like a decent woman. Like she used her powers. Like the
Didn't
one
she
guy's
die
like,
when she was a little girl? That's what I thought the...
her gravestone has her only alive for 7 years.
well, but
or
I think,
11 or something
I think
like
the
that.
doll is supposed to be the 11-year-old, like the kid. That's why she like interprets her like spirit or whatever, because it's actually a woman. But the woman in the shit, like, she meets the one guy and he talks about the note. He's like, I haven't seen my wife in 20 years. She's dead. And so came and made me talk to my wife.
Oh, yeah.
So she actually does, like, she's the Lord that, like, I think she kind of loses her mind, but she doesn't actually, I don't think, want to kill people. Even with Ethan, she's like, don't leave, stay with me. I don't know if there's that scene where it's like, no one's attacking. She just wants people around her, actually wants to help people.
What does this have to do with there not being an actual fight?
Because she's actually not a bad
Okay, so you murdered her.
person.
So you murdered her in cold blood in a hallucinogenic rage.
Yeah, basically.
I don't understand what your point is.
No,
Like-
I'm saying that she's not. You were talking about, it's like, she's not actually her character. I think
she's
that
insane and she's trying to kill you.
The doll,
AKA
is part of
balls
her.
fight. Boss fight.
Balls fight.
Balls fight.
Balls fight.
Balls fight, bro.
It's a different villain. It's a different. She's not a full on.
I understand. We could have done all the same shit, but what Buddy's saying is then, like, fucking Spider Doll could come out and you could actually have a fight scene with it. Or something, you know
I
what
think
I mean?
they were.
Yeah, like
trying-
there's two forms to it or whatever. Like
you do
like,
that, and then
Oh, and
like,
then it mutates.
and then like it mutates. You come back to reality, and then the doll is like fucking crazy, and you have all your guns back and shit, and then you can fight it.
Yeah. That.
Well, I think they always wanted it to just be a quick.
And you could even do something interesting because it's a puppet, right? Like maybe it has like strings that you literally have to shoot down, and then it falls to the ground, and you have to go like knife it or something.
Mercenaries.
Zelda style.
I'm playing Mercenaries. Mercenaries in the final form of the castle. You have to chase the doll, and it has a giant health bar. You shoot the doll a few times, it runs away. It's another part of the castle area. Shoot the doll again, it runs away. Like, it's a long, like, that's the final thing.
But
So
they should have had something like that in the main game, though.
I like to fight. It was different because I'm used to running and gunning and
But it could. It's not about whether or not we like it. It was there. It was fine.
Yeah,
for
it was
what
fine, but I'm just saying,
they
like, there
literally could have added anything else after it. There could have been more to it. That's all we're saying. Like, regardless of whether or not you like the fight or not, that's cool. It was whatever. It was fine.
Okay, who's your favorite lord?
It was Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu?
I
Are you
couldn't
gonna say
take it.
something controversial?
He's gonna be like,
he's gonna
Heisenberg, Heisenberg, my bro.
Okay, Heisenberg, no, for real. Heisenberg, I liked his character.
Nice.
He was basically
His
like,
character was literally like,
he's like, Ethan, team up with me. Mother Miranda's garbage, I want to kill her. I like that.
he had the worst voice of all time. I could not stand listening to this guy talk.
I like Heisenberg. That's
Ethan Winters, let's kill Mother Miranda. Like, shut the fuck up.
I like
God.
Heisenberg. I liked it. I liked that dialogue with him yelling at the fight that you hate. The like engine faced character.
Oh yeah. With
He's like,
no
shut
line.
up! Like, he's like screaming at him. He's I just like.
I didn't
like
hate that fight. I just thought it went on like
It was too long.
really long.
It was too long, and it wasn't really like challenging either.
right. It was just like okay.
It was just like I'm waiting
I
for
was
this guy to die.
Okay, I get it. And like it went on so long that I was like,
Even when he was shooting
I was like,
am I
fire,
doing anything?
I didn't die, but like even when he was shooting the flames out after he got like too injured.
yeah, that's literally like halfway through the fight.
Well, no,
And I have to shoot him like 100 more times. Like, he's shooting fire, he's going crazy. I'm shooting him like 10 billion times, only in his generator spot. And the fight went on so long. This is my only criticism. The fight went on so long that I actually started to question whether or not I was missing something. I'm like, am I just stunning him by shooting this? Do I need to shoot something else after this? Like,
Right?
what's going on? Because it's going on so long.
Because it doesn't give you any indication that he's taking damage either.
Right,
For a lot
like,
of
it's
that.
just like...
Well, because he gets more angry when he takes damage. As he starts like fucking up and overheat.
It just takes forever, like, and it's like, you got to give me something else to let me know that I'm actually, like, progressing in the fight, like...
What do you think about Heisenberg's fight? Because I feel like that was when the game changed quite a bit. He was a transformer.
Yeah, he was literally Megatron,
Like-
it was cool. It was cool.
It was just so different than... Like, it went all of a sudden from being horror, and like, Chris is like, here, have this insane fucking weapon that I'm building in the basement of his factory. Fucking kill, like, go fight Heisenberg if you want to. So it was cool, but it was really random.
It was like steampunky.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine because it was different. Because I mean, like Moreau and Dimitrescu fights is like, yeah, you're running around just shooting the fuck out of them. So I appreciated that it was something different.
That's why I like the doll fight. Like we just talked about. Like I like things that are.
It just wasn't a fight. That's all. It wasn't a fight. It was like an event. Like,
and like Jarrod said, it could have been a different style of fight. Like you're shooting down the marionette wings or whatever.
It
Yeah,
that
like
he grabbed her.
it's fine as a part of something. Like
I like
cool. It's not a fight. You can't call it a fight.
I like that he grabbed her in her. He stabbed.
We
her
get it.
one
You
time.
fucking love it. It's the greatest boss fight in Resident Evil history. Like we understand.
The face
like
splits.
Nemesis would explode at this boss fight. Like
You can see the Kadu because her face splits at
in
one
the
point.
annals of fucking great boss fights in video game history. Fucking Ben Viento's going down like in the top 5 for
Clearly,
sure.
I just said
easily.
that. Top. Honestly,
Fuck Ganondorf in Hyrule
Honestly,
Castle
yeah.
with
Top-
the volleyball and shit.
top 2 boss fights of all time, for real, dog. I'm gonna get a Benevito doll tattoo.
okay, so Moreau's area. That's like the only one we haven't really talked about at all.
I liked his area.
I liked his area. His
a lot.
area was very Zelda-esque to me. Like when you're running through, like flipping the switches and trying to get all the levels correct. I thought the boss fight was a little underwhelming because again, it was very similar to the Dimitrescu fight. You're running around just shooting him.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good boss fight.
I feel like
it was fine, but like it didn't,
dodging
like,
the
I actually
acid
died.
rain.
I died like 3 times on the acid.
I died one. That was the
because
first time
I literally
died.
had no idea what was going on. I was like, where's he at? What's he doing? And all of a sudden, it's just
The
like acid rain. And then finally, after like dying 3 times, I looked. I was like, oh, he's on a roof, like just spinning.
Well, because
and I
you
was
know
like,
you can get underneath the overhangs they have. Yeah.
obviously, because I beat the game, Miles. So
Yeah, but
I figured this out eventually.
No.
Like,
There's actually a challenge that says beat Moreau in under a minute.
Right,
So,
it's
like-
one of those additional, like, to get the
so what?
currency.
Kill him before he even gets to the roof,
Acid
basically.
rain, yeah, that's like. So
Well,
I
they
didn't
all
know.
have, like, a time limit. Like,
But his is the
like,
shortest. Dimitrescu is like 2.5 minutes. I beat
Right.
her in 4.
So what are you doing, Moreau? Just fucking cap him with a magnum 3 times?
Basically, I feel like you run up, magnum, grenade launcher, done.
Magnum.
Well,
for good
yeah,
measure.
if you have enough ammo, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I thought it was fine. It was just, it's like it's a boss fight. It was cool.
All right.
I thought
not final, but big opinions that we haven't talked about. Each you guys go. What do you think, buddy? What are some things you love about the game? Like pluses and negatives on the game.
I mean, obviously, I guess we haven't talked about this really in all of our conversations, but obviously I'm a big, like, Universal Monster guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate, like, even though I didn't think it was as scary as something like the Biohazard stuff with the molded people coming at you, like, again, I thought the Lycans were cool. Dimitrescu, I believe I read online, and I mean, you guys can confirm this, is the first vampire in Resident Evil ever.
she's not even really a vampire,
She's
though.
not
Like,
technically a vampire,
Right,
but yeah,
but-
but still, yeah.
It's and like the first thing when you see the 3 daughters, okay, I was like in my mind, I was like, okay, Dracula had 3 wives.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
I just really liked the mythology that they created.
That was
with
probably
it.
purpose, like.
Oh, I
purposely,
guarantee
yeah.
it was. Like,
Yeah.
But
it's definitely purposely. I mean, look at even Biohazard, the dinner table scene. It's
It's
Well,
yeah,
they
right
said,
out
right
of
out of
they
Texas.
said,
CCM,
yeah, they
like-
said they wanted to do a more American horror with like number 7.
American horror. Everything is fucking dirty, and it's like,
Okay,
Yeah.
American horror, an episode of Hoarders.
Okay, so here's something I did not like about the game and that we haven't talked about yet. So after you're out of the castle and you're back in the village and you're trying to get through to like all these houses and explore and shit, I hated after that how much of a hassle it was to just go around the fucking village.
It's terrible.
Like
my god, the map is dog shit. The map is so fucking
because like
bad.
there's the one part where you have to
Holy
like
fuck. It's like on the map there's a road here, and then you like try and go up the road. It's like 700 trucks just blocking your path.
Like, at least have
They
it on
never
the-
move. They never move throughout the end of the game. So that road that's on the map is like, just have
Like-
it blocked off on the map.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the map needs to be, and like you're cranking up the car or whatever.
I don't give a fuck about.
the tractor. Yeah, crawl into this tractor.
But like,
yeah.
why couldn't like in the game? Like, why couldn't you find a way? Okay, we're just gonna push this out of the fucking way, so I don't have to crawl under this every time I want to go through this area. Like, I just thought it was very like, because it's not challenging. It's just annoying. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, it's not like
When I'm walking through the main village part, I seriously am checking the map like every 3 seconds. It's like every time I'm facing a certain direction, I'm like, map. Okay, this is. I know I'm going in the right general direction. I have no idea if an asteroid is going to come down and block the fucking path or not.
I will say I agree with what you guys are saying, but there's a few like shortcuts in the village, but only because I like ran around and looked a lot. Like, it's hard to explain without looking at the map and being this. You could do this. Like, there's certain rooms where you could run through the barn and jump through something. A lot of the barns would connect to other spots. Like that spot you're talking about with the tractor that I have to lift it up.
right, but
I
still
only ran through that one time.
That's not a defense. The map is terrible.
It's just
Yes,
meant
there's
to be
shortcuts. Obviously, I found them. Like, I've done. It's not something.
Right, yeah, but I'm
there's
just
certain
saying-
parts of the game that you can literally only get to by going through that barn.
like
And
I'm
me
just
going
saying
to
it's
make all the
annoying.
houses blue, I had to go through all these fucking hidden paths and shit to do it. The problem
annoying.
is
Like,
it's annoying because the map is not clearly marked
where you can go and where you can't
can go and you can't go. Like, it would be so easy to just be on the map, like
and have the fucking truck there that you
the
can't
truck,
fucking
like,
pass.
oh, there's a blockage there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go down this road. Instead of every time I see that road, I never remember there's a truck there. I just look at a map, and video game brain tells me, trust the map. Go down this road, and you'll get to where you're fucking going. Nice fucking try. There's a truck there. Like, it's awful. Why can't Ethan just, if they want to go super realism, when you find the truck there, just have fucking
Marks
make
it
it so
off.
like Ethan
I
like
was
fucking
gonna
scratches
say,
it off on the map.
I'm fine, like, with just him seeing that and then doing notes.
You
I
can-
like games when they do notes.
You
on the
you can
maps and shit.
everything you find in the fucking game ends up on your goddamn map. Like you find
treasure and
like a
everything,
goddamn like a drawer that you have to lockpick.
Yeah.
It's marked on the map for the rest of the
Right,
game
yeah.
until you open it. Like there's a lockpick in this fucking house. Like
Yeah, that's like the only exception where it's not like that. So Jarrod, what did you?
Yeah, what do you think?
What's
Pluses
something
and minuses. A few pluses and minuses.
like
real
some
quick.
stuff we haven't talked about already?
I think that I mean I think I've already complained about all the shit that I think that were minuses in the game. I think that you go a little too harsh on it not being as scary as 7. I think that
Well, I felt that way until you got to the fucking dollhouse because the dollhouse I thought
I'm
was
saying
scarier
like
than
not
anything,
even the
so.
doll. I think that the game has a way of being like a Resident Evil game is. That they don't really actually, if you think about it, Resident Evil games don't rely heavily on jump scares and shit like that. It's usually like you're kind of afraid of your environment. You open into a room and like you're scared of what's going to be in there. You know what I mean? Like, and then like it is fucking guy with chainsaw arms. You know what I mean? And then it's just like fuck. You know what I mean? And like, so I thought it was like scary throughout. Like,
Heisenberg shit was scary with those fucking the
Those
chainsaw
guys would
dudes.
come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and they
those
just, like,
cats were
step
scary
through a
as
room
fuck,
And they were just
yeah.
like, they were like, oh fuck.
those dudes scared the shit out of me. I thought Dimitrescu's castle was scary enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, because it gets to the point like where it's just like you go through the main hall and then all of a sudden like Dimitrescu is there, and then all of a sudden one of the daughters is like, I'm gonna fuck you, and then you're just like, oh shit! You just have flies all over you. You just have to run, and you have like no idea where they're at. Like,
How good were a couple of the parts where you walked out of like the upper stairwell in the castle, and you're running, and all of a sudden you run into Demetrius's like ass, like in her like she's like walking like in front of you, and I'm just like, oh, that's her ass, and then I run by and you hear her, like open her claws and shit.
Yeah,
Like, did you ever have that where you're like,
I got behind her a few times, like
Yeah.
not even planning it. I was like, oh
no,
shit,
yeah,
and like
and then she's like, and you're like there, you know.
no, I mean, there's scary moments in that, like too, where you like, all right, like I got to get to this room. Okay,
Yeah.
you run through the main hall. You're like, okay, no sign of Dimitrescu. This is good. Clean run through the hall. you open up a door to go where you're at, and she's literally right there, and like fucking ducks through the door, and I'm literally just pissing my, like, literally just want to fucking kill myself. So I think it did a good job through there. I think that like it feels more like a Resident Evil game with like the merch. I just think that it was like that, like a really good blend of like horror and like I have a gun. This is fun. Like, you know, like no matter how scary the game gets, when I blow a fucking Lycan's head off, I'm just like, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's same in Resident Evil 4. Like, you could be in a goddamn in the fucking situation where it's you're like surrounded by the entire village. You don't even know where, like, you just walk into a certain area of the village and some cat's like, Matoro! And I was just like, oh my god! And it just plays that fucking, like, music, like that, like, ambient, like, dread music. And I'm just like, oh my, like, fuck.
The best part about Resident Evil 4 is when they say that and they point like almost like Village of the Damned, where it's like, and he points to it, and all of a sudden villagers are all like this. They turn around and they just hold their sights up and start walking. But like they always have the one guy in the distance who's like, like pointing, but he's like pointing so mad at you. He can be like a mile away, and they're all like, and they just start like going towards you. I love that in that game.
So I'll be scared as fucking Resident Evil 4 when it's like a whole ass village coming at me and I don't even know what direction they're coming from and shit, and I can't run and shoot. So and then, you know, but then like you get that clean fucking shot and their head explodes and I'm just like, man, I'm about to die right now, but that was fucking dope.
Any other things like pluses or minuses before I go into mine with you guys? Anything?
I mean, nothing we haven't really talked about. Nothing's really coming to mind at the moment.
I enjoyed the whole Dimitrescu backstory a lot. I was not let down by, like, the wine, like, the maidens.
I like that.
Like, their blood being the wine. Like, I think that was also the vampire
aspect. And she had to, like, to keep her size was because her metabolism was so fast, and she had to, like...
She had a rare blood disease, and, like, the Cadeau thing made it so she had to consume human blood
that's why she got so...
to maintain.
Yeah, like, her metabolism was so big it made her gross. She had to constantly have it. And I liked that, like, the daughters were, like, dead for days, and then came back as flies, recreated their bodies. Like, they didn't have corpses anymore. And, like, the cold... I like that you had to shoot the windows out, and, like... The cold froze them and stuff. I don't know. It was her stuff was like really well done. That whole castle.
Her part was the best part of the game.
The castle was.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, the castle was the best part of the game, and that's also why I was disappointed a little bit. I was like, all right.
And it reminded me, and like, I liked the castle's the best part of the game. And like you said, the castle is beautiful. It really reminded me of like Resident Evil 1 or like Resident Evil 4, because like now it just feels like in Resident Evil 7 and 8, like after you get out of the castle, is like, okay, this is scary because it's an episode of Hoarders. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, Kat, like I am sick and fucking tired of seeing like fucked up houses. Like, just give me some more variety here. Like why is everything got to be so fucking messy? It's not scary. It just fucking is like irritating to see, and like goddamn, like, you know, the castle is just like nice gothic cool atmosphere. It's like the mansion in Resident Evil 1 or the castle in Resident Evil 4, you know, like, so
me pluses and minuses quickly. I loved, like you talked about, like some of the like almost like classic monster feel they brought to the games. I loved the way the inventory's done, all the guns. Like, I actually really liked all the guns, like the upgrading, everything is like felt like a spiritual successor to 4. Minuses. Oh, last plus. I liked how different each of the Lord's areas was, as much as it could be like the water area, the castle, the factory. I thought they did a good job of making them all feel where it was like, I liked it. I was looking forward to getting to every area. I liked the running around the village. I understand everything you guys were saying. But, like, overall, I liked playing the game all the way until the end. And, like, my minuses are, I felt like they built the story up so much where there's going to be crazy reveals. They're going to, you know, do a bunch of stuff with the lore. And a lot of the reveals, the stuff at the end, I felt like fell flat for me. It was probably my biggest letdown. Like, I feel like they tried to hint that there was going to be so much more story-wise in this game, and to be honest, there really wasn't. Like Rose at the end, big spoiler. Rose going to see...
Watch out, she's the protagonist of the next game. Watch out.
Exactly. Or going to see her dad's grave. Yeah, going to see her dad's grave. My biggest thing, and I talked to Buddy about this, we weren't allowed to talk about it. You told me to wait for the podcast. So Eve...
She has to be aging rapidly because it's not. We're not taking a fucking 17-year time skip.
So Rose has to age rapidly. There's no way she's not aging 2 to 5 years every year.
Well, because here was my theory at first, and then it was squashed like almost immediately. Because in 7, the way you're like revealing the backstory and like what the fuck is going on is you're watching these VHS tapes.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, does this take place in the 90s or even like the early 2000s?
Yeah.
But then in this game, in Village, literally Ethan or whatever's on his iPhone the entire fucking time. And so it's like it has to be modern day.
One of the memos I think says 16 or 17. Like actually says a year, so fucks all that up.
So yeah, she has to age rapidly because like it's not like we jumped to.
Did it not say a date 3 years later or something?
But it never says
7
what
never
year.
says what year it is the thing. 7 in the game never has.
No, I'm saying at the end of the game with Rose, it doesn't say 10 years later or some shit.
No, it never.
No, it just comes back
to
on,
her just at her dad's grave, and that guy cuts a joke like the.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
He's Eve, and then she's like, what the fuck did you say?
She said, he said Evelyn.
Or Evelyn, I'm sorry. Yeah, but she was like, what? And the guy was terrified. He's like, nothing, Rose. Like,
yeah,
okay.
She's like, I'm going to show you shit that even Chris doesn't know I can do. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so at the end, and people,
and then Leon's going to snipe you from a building 600 years away.
The end, when they're driving off into the distance... Apparently, photo mode is up the entire time in these cutscenes. Everyone's saying Capcom did this purposely, which I feel like it's not a big reveal, but the final cutscene where the SUV's driving into the distance so long, and it stops. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Yeah, and then there was
and you see someone get in, multiple people in photo mode. You can zoom in. So people have stopped the cutscene, zoomed, and everyone said that it's Ethan walking in the distance, stops the fucking van. Or whatever he gets in. I hope it's not. I keep hoping, like I said to you, I'm hoping
it's Leon.
Leon and fucking
it's
Rose.
Ethan. Says who? All the people that saw his face never?
Well, it's so pixelized that it looks like his character model, but I guess you can't see you can't see a face in the game anyways, but it's not fully clear.
You see his mouth, I think.
Okay, another gripe. Why can't we see Ethan's face? They do that purposely, they show his body. I don't understand what's such a big deal about him being.
It's just a meme at this point. It's just like the guy, the neighbor next door in Home Improvement.
Oh, I can't just
the way they shot it at the very end. I was like, this is the most Home Improvement shit I've ever seen in my life. It was to the point where someone was it was gonna show have Ethan lift his head up and somebody's gonna pass Chris a gun to block his fucking face right at the time.
Because at first I would have thought okay, we're not seeing his face because he's dead or whatever. But Chris didn't even fucking know that, so it's not like he would look like a corpse, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the big deal is. Can we talk about Chris's section just for 1 second? How hard were you guys flexing?
When Chris goes through and kills 60 Lycans back to back, because I counted. Because they do how many people you killed with the assault rifle. Chris in 5 minutes kills 60 Lycans.
Right, this wouldn't, like I said, before I even got to this part, I was like, this wouldn't even be a fucking game if it was just Chris. It would just literally be Dimitrescu, nice try. The whole game could have been avoided if Chris would have literally just been
I'm gonna go in here and shoot everything.
Ethan, that's not your wife. Chill, we're gonna bring you to this fucking place with Rose or whatever, and Ethan would be okay dude, let's go. Their car gets attacked, it still could have not been a game because then, like, Chris could have been like...
Even Ethan could have teamed up with Chris and been like, let's co-op this village.
He didn't need the team
but I'm being but no, honestly, even if he did, because Ethan's
he seriously was there just building that weapon the entire time. He was literally going to drive that weapon, kill Heisenberg, and probably drive that weapon into like Dimitrescu's castle, like chainsaw her in fucking half, and then like
the biggest problem when I said in mine, the story plots.
Can you imagine if Chris fought Mother Miranda in that like weapon thing that he fucking built? It's so funny.
Mother Miranda's fight didn't even feel like it was the same video game. All of a sudden you were in some weird hellish world and you're fighting her. It just...
Was I? I just thought she was just...
It was at the ceremony site.
It was just covered in like mold.
But yeah, she was...
No, it was like all different colors. It just didn't...
Well, she makes it all dark for a second. And I mean, yeah, like the molded like trees or whatever.
Yeah,
fucking, like
everything's like in like these weird reds. And it just... The end of the game, I feel like, after you get to Heisenberg, why I asked, it feels like 3 different type games. Like all... Like, the game's very consistent with the style and things like that.
No, it's not. It changes throughout. The only, like... The one that's different... like, because, like you said, the Benevito boss fight's so different. That's why I fucking think it's the greatest boss fight of all time.
I like every boss
Yeah, it's completely... It's horror simulator. It's like, they turned... Like,
we all know Jarrod doesn't like modern things, so he doesn't like Outlast.
I just fucking said that I like this game a lot. Like, I have more positive to say about it than negative. But I'm just saying, like... Why are you only calling out the end of the game when that part of the game is like right smack in the middle, completely fucking different from everything else that happens in the game? It changes the style of game throughout. Like
every area is different.
It does, but I just feel like it goes. I feel like the end. That's my biggest gripe with the game. I feel like it was consistent with the Lords, and then they didn't know how to end the game or tie everything together in a way that was like more satisfying than
they knew how to end the game. They wanted to fucking have Chris fucking... They wanted you to fucking have the part of the game where Chris just fucking fists her. You can't have Chris Redfield in a game and expect him not to fucking just go giga chat all over everything.
Well,
I would have been pissed if there wasn't a part of that in the game where I'd be like, God damn, Chris was in this village the entire time. He didn't fucking drop a nuke on it like the first 2 seconds. It wouldn't make any sense. Even less sense than him fucking not telling Ethan what the fuck was going on.
My other biggest gripe with the whole thing and the story things, I just felt like the story could have been better in this game overall. It could have been written better where too many weird plot points, it could have been completely avoided. But that's not even like a huge gripe because I really like this game, but it's the truth. Like little things like bother me like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there could be improvements in any game, basically, but like...
Right, but I feel like these were like...
Not Ocarina of Time, but...
I don't know, fam.
What would you change?
Oh, we're gonna get way off.
What would you improve about Ocarina of Time? Tell me. I'm genuinely curious.
I mean...
God, you're having a hard time.
I am having a hard time.
Yeah. Why? Because it's fucking amazing and it's just great. Like... I wouldn't change anything about Majora's Mask either. Like, it's like exactly what it's supposed to be.
I like the changes they did on the 3DS one with Majora's Mask, but
what was where you can pick
select what time you want.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good change.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say we're getting into Majora's Mask. We're getting into
okay. So
let's wrap it up, brothers.
So as we wind down here, is there anything we haven't?
Any good podcast is built on sidebars. I just want to say that right now.
No, I know we've sidebarred on this. Trust me.
Miles spent the entire first half of the podcast talking about 10 billion games that Buddy's never played before. We mentioned one game that Miles hasn't played. He's like, holy shit, dude, end the podcast! Fuck, end the whole thing!
Everything was Resident Evil. We talked about Zelda over 2 podcasts, so I'm trying to keep...
He's still butthurt that he didn't get to talk about all of his video games.
I'm okay. I've come to terms with it, because we did a Resident Evil podcast, and I'm going to do more Resident Evil podcasts.
I'm just saying that, like, you know, Buddy made a statement. You could change stuff for the better in every game. I said Ocarina of Time. He struggled to come up with an improvement, and that was my point.
Okay.
I'll say this: in Final Fantasy VII, you could have made the graphics better.
Okay, in Ocarina of Time, you can have it where you're not going to completely ruin your fucking game in the Water Temple if you fucking mess up
there you go.
once.
That's fair. That's fair. And you know what? They did improve that in Master Quest.
Yes.
No, I'm just trying.
So, all right, Miles is trying to go to bed. So
No, I'm trying to.
No,
I'm trying to bring it in.
if we said Silent Hill or Resident Evil right now, it'd be another 600 hours
No,
of this.
because I know when to rope it in, brothers. That's all right.
He said, "I know good podcasts are built on sidebars. Sidebar." Drake, like nah meme, like.
So, are you guys excited where it's gonna go from here, or indifferent about it, or?
I want to play as Leon again.
I
don't want to play as Rose in the next game. I want to play as Leon.
If you're going to change, go ahead. You got it.
I was gonna say, so what if the person who got in the car is Leon, and then the next game it's like
That's
a
what I want.
Leon-Ashley scenario, but it's
With
Leon
Rose.
and Rose?
I like that. I think it'd be awesome.
The problem with that is that they've already alluded that Chris is training her and that she's going to be a fucking insane bioweapon.
So
why would she need Leon?
That was my point. So do they make Rose, like, do they change the series up where they give the Rose, like, legit powers? Like, someone comes up, she blows them away with, like, power or tentacles or mind control. Do they change, like, it'll be the 9th entry, main entry. Do we change the game where they actually have, like, RPG elements where they actually, like, almost change Rose's characteristics? They've never done that in Resident Evil. Can they do that in mixed survival horror and it work? Do you think?
I think they could. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to continue with just the first-person shooter kind of scenario. If they're going to continue this story on, they could make it work. I just don't think that would even be on their radar to do that.
But they've hinted too much, like that Rose has these powers. Like, do you make Rose?
Well, yeah, I mean they could easily make it like an Infamous or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm that interested in it. But
maybe it'd change the series too much for me, and I would like it, but it would be too far to the left.
I mean, they've already fucking changed the entire series to straight fucking action game, and then brought it back, and then so like they might, do it again.
I have a hard time ranking the Resident Evil series because it's gone through. The series has evolved and changed so many times. It's nothing like how it was originally.
It shouldn't affect your ability to rank it. It's which ones do you like better than the other ones?
I like all 3 eras, so I'm gonna put the eras. The 4 through 6.
Yeah, apparently you don't, because
9.
like fucking 5, you're like, God, dog shit. Get that out of my face. Worst game I've ever played.
He's just mad I don't like 5. But alright. Buddy, play the rest of the Resident Evil games. I'm calling you out on the podcast.
It'll happen. So
I bet you if Resident Evil 5 had the storage system from Resident Evil 4, you would be like, fuck, all-time GOAT game.
I gotta finish Ghost of Tsushima and then
Tsushima.
Ghost of Sushi.
What are Jarrod and Buddy's highs and lows of the game?
No,
we went through it.
They went first. I let them go. Yeah, I wanted them to go first.
Oh, I must have blacked.
How many miles? Okay, because I've already beaten it twice. Jarrod will probably never play it again. But how many times do you plan on playing? He already said he doesn't.
I might go back and try and kill the werewolf because I have three. I have three Magnum rounds that I saved to try and fucking get heavy damage on him. If I could snipe his head with all 3 of those rounds, and then like, I feel like a couple of shotgun blasts after that should do it. I don't know.
Because once you know what you're doing, it's not a long game.
Have you used any Magnum on him?
I used any Magnum and a rocket launcher.
How many Magnum?
Like 2, 3 rocket launcher rounds.
Rocket launchers don't do anything.
Or like grenade launcher.
I mean grenade launcher. It does.
But
I feel like grenade launcher in this game does infinite stun damage, barely any actual damage.
If you shoot it at like grenade launcher was really good for those like weird werewolves. Ones I'm talking, ones that, like the crazy looking ones. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it good for them? Because
I killed him with it. Like
I killed him with it too. It took 6 fucking grenades. Like,
It didn't take me that long.
bullshit. You remember this, Maisie? The one by the goddamn the
one you have to
reservoir.
fight, yeah.
The one that you actually don't have to fight him. You can run out of there. Like, it's just it'd be a pain in the ass that every time you have to revisit that area.
The
like,
actual like the big dog thing.
Yeah.
it took me like 5 or 6 grenades to kill him. I shot him with the
this time. We talked about the giant. Like I didn't kill it. It was optional.
Right. Yeah.
And I killed it this time. So
Well, I'm proud of you, dude. All right, well, we got to wrap this up and ride into the sunset. Again, if you guys haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do that. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever. We're making Miles a burner Twitter account one of these days.
just do it.
I'm gonna post it. It's gonna be like no conjunctions whatsoever. It's
Please,
literally
thank
be.
you.
It's like, hi, my name is Miles.
Hello,
Thank
my
you.
name is Miles. Deadly Premonition in my top 10. Like
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Deadly Premonition is better than Resident Evil 5.
I'm sure we'll be talking about this game at some point in the future, so if
Don't be-
anyone wants to know anything, leave us a comment
Deadly
down below.
Premonition or Village?
Anything. Just leave us a
We've
comment
just
down
suggested in a podcast that's probably gonna come out after this one, but for Buddy's 1,000 subscriber special, we might go live for 1,000 minutes and try to 100% a game in 16 hours on live stream.
Deadly Premonition.
And we're saying that it might be Deadly Premonition.
I have 89% of the trophies for that game. The thing is, like, okay, all right, for real, dog. You guys are gonna play this. We're gonna get through it, and
No, you'll have to be there. Like, there's
yeah,
no
I'm
way
gonna be
we'll
there.
100% the game without you there. Like,
I'm excited, bro.
you're gonna have to
I'm
tell us
honestly-
like where everything is.
I'm excited. I'm almost gonna pull up the screenshot where the main.
Well, it's not
character's like-
confirmed. It's not confirmed. We don't know what game we're.
We
gonna
don't know what we're
100%
gonna
yet.
do.
I saw the screenshot today. There's a cutscene when the guy's talking to one of the local sheriffs, and he's like, "When I was young, I was a punk rocker, and I always liked laughing at that because great game."
I'm honestly dreading Buddy getting 1,000 subscribers now because sitting down for 16 hours and playing a mid video game sounds like hell on earth.
If we platinum the game before the 16 hours, we can end it early.
So that's just our incentive to literally just fucking like.
You could, like, to be
we
honest,
need to just body the game.
you could platinum Deadly Permission in one playthrough if you actually had even a guide to, because I almost platinumed it one try.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, 1,000 subscribers coming soon. Miles will be on.
bless.
Few more podcasts coming up, and yeah, let us know what you guys want to see in the comments down below. We will be discussing your favorite video games of all time at some point. But for right now, this is Buddy the Bruiser. I'm signing off.
Midnight Miles. I'll see you later. Thanks, guys.
Dynamite Jarrod, I'll catch you gamers down the road.